Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Speak Smart podcast. Today we're diving into something that might surprise you.
Oh.
Using documentaries to really boost your English learning.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
I like that.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
For someone who wants to, get better at English, why would you say documentaries are a good choice?
Well, when I think about documentaries, I think people often have this perception that they're super serious or academic.
Yeah.
But they can actually be a really, really amazing tool to learn a language.
Okay. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So it's not just hitting play and hoping for the best.
No, not at all.
What makes them special for language learning?
Well, think about the language used in most documentaries. It's usually pretty clear and organized.
Makes sense.
Spoken at a pace that's much easier to follow than, say, a super fast-paced action movie.
Right. No slang overload.
Exactly. Yeah. And on top of that, you have the visuals to help you understand what's going on.
True.
And most documentaries these days have subtitles.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
It's like having a vocabulary list right there on your screen.
So it's almost like built-in support.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm starting to see the potential here. But I'm guessing it's not just about sitting back and passively watching, right?
You got it. You want to be an active listener.
Okay. So how do we do that?
Well, there are some really cool techniques.
Okay, let's hear them.
That you can use to make the most out of your documentary time.
Give us the secrets.
All right. So one of my favorite techniques is focusing on the intonation. How the speaker's voice goes up and down.
Okay.
Are they excited, skeptical, trying to persuade you?
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just the words, but how they say them.
Exactly. It gives you a deeper understanding of the language.
Okay.
Another tip is to try and figure out the main argument of each segment.
Interesting.
It's like solving a puzzle.
Like a little mystery to solve.
Exactly. And speaking of challenges, have you ever tried shadowing?
Shadowing?
Yeah. It's where you try to repeat what the narrator is saying as they're saying it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds tough.
It is. It's amazing for pronunciation and getting the rhythm of the language.
Okay.
Don't worry about being perfect at first.
Right.
It's all about practice. You can pause and rewind as much as you need.
Take your time.
Exactly. Another thing you can try is predicting what will be said next.
Oh, predict.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It keeps you engaged.
Right.
And helps you anticipate how ideas flow in English.
I like that. It makes it more interactive.
Yes. Exactly. You're totally right. It's about being present with the language, not just letting it wash over you.
Right. Engaged.
Now, when it comes to actually choosing a documentary.
Yes, because I'm sure not all documentaries are created equal.
Definitely not.
So what are some things to consider when picking one out, specifically for language learning?
The most important thing is to choose something you're actually interested in.
Okay.
Passion makes all the difference. If you're bored, you're not going to learn as well.
Good point.
And don't be afraid to start small. If you're a beginner, a 20-minute documentary is a great starting point.
Right.
You can work your way up to those longer ones as you get more confident.
Work your way up.
Yeah. And you know what else can be really helpful?
What's that?
Choosing a documentary about something you're already familiar with.
Okay, why is that?
Because it lets you focus more on the language itself.
Right.
Instead of trying to understand completely new concepts at the same time.
That makes sense.
For example, if you love to cook, start with a food documentary. You'll probably already know a lot of the basic cooking words.
Right.
So you can really zero in on how they're used in sentences.
You're building on what you already know.
Exactly. And as you watch, you can even turn it into a vocabulary building activity.
Oh, I like that.
Keep a notebook handy and write down any new words or phrases that you hear.
Oh, yeah. I used to do that when I was learning Spanish.
Nice.
It's amazing how much you can pick up just by paying attention.
You're right. And don't just write down the word itself. Try writing it in a sentence or even look up examples of how it's used online.
Oh, that's smart.
The more you interact with the word, the better you'll remember it.
Makes sense. So it's active learning.
Exactly. And speaking of active learning, let's talk about using subtitles strategically.
Ooh, subtitles. I'm intrigued.
They can be a game changer.
Okay, tell me more.
Yeah. So instead of just using subtitles as a crutch, try this.
Okay.
Watch a segment with subtitles on. Pay attention to how the words are spelled.
Okay.
And how they sound.
Right.
Then rewind and watch it again, this time without subtitles.
Okay.
Yeah. See how much you can understand just by listening.
Oh, I like that. It's like a little test.
Exactly. It's a great way to gauge your comprehension and train your ear.
So you're actively engaging with the language.
You got it. And if you get stuck on a word, don't hesitate to turn the subtitles back on.
No shame in that.
None at all. It's about using the tools to your advantage.
Okay, so subtitles can be our friends. Now I want to talk about something else.
Sure.
What about watching documentaries with other people?
Oh, I love that idea.
So you're saying make it a social activity?
Absolutely. Watching with friends or a language partner can really boost your learning.
Yeah, but how do you actually do that?
Well, you can start by discussing what you learned after watching.
Okay.
What were the main points?
Right.
Were there any surprises? What parts were most interesting to you?
So it's a natural conversation starter.
Exactly. And as you chat, you're using the vocabulary and grammar you picked up from the documentary.
Without even realizing it.
Right. It's a chance to put those new skills into practice in a comfortable setting.
Takes the pressure off.
For sure. And if you really want to challenge yourself, you can even have a friendly debate about the topics in the documentary.
Ooh, a debate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you agree with the filmmaker's perspective? Why or why not?
I like that. It gets you thinking critically.
Exactly. It's a fun way to practice expressing your opinions in English.
And using persuasive language.
Yeah, right. You get to practice all sorts of skills.
So documentaries can be so much more than just a source of information.
Absolutely. They're a gateway to language learning,
Right.
personal growth, and even social connection.
I like that. Okay, so now that we've covered all of that,
Yeah,
let's talk about where to actually find these documentaries.
sure.
Because I know not all documentaries are created equal.
Definitely not.
So where should our listeners start their search?
Well, the good news is there are tons of options these days.
Okay.
YouTube is a great place to start. It's free.
Free's always good.
And there are documentaries on pretty much any topic you can imagine.
Yeah. But YouTube can be a little overwhelming.
It can be. So here are a few things to keep in mind.
Okay.
First, check the audio quality.
Yeah.
You don't want to be straining to hear what they're saying.
Right.
And if you're using subtitles, make sure they're accurate.
And in sync.
Exactly. Good subtitles are key.
So what about streaming services?
Oh, yeah, those are great too.
Yeah.
Netflix has a huge selection of documentaries. I love Netflix.
They have really high production quality.
Yeah.
And a lot of them offer subtitles in multiple languages.
Plus, you can download them to watch offline,
That's a good point.
which is perfect for traveling.
Exactly.
What about Amazon Prime Video?
Amazon's good too. They have a decent selection, and they have this cool feature called X-Ray.
X-Ray. What's that?
It's like a pop-up encyclopedia for your documentary.
Really?
You can pause at any time and get extra information about what's being discussed.
Oh, wow.
So it's really helpful for context and vocabulary.
It's like having a built-in study guide.
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget about your local library.
Libraries.
Yeah, a lot of libraries offer free access to streaming platforms like Canopy.
I love libraries.
Me too. They're such a valuable resource.
Right. And Canopy has some great educational documentaries.
It does. And if you're a real documentary enthusiast,
Yeah.
there are also subscription services dedicated entirely to documentaries,
Like what?
like CuriosityStream.
CuriosityStream.
Yeah.
I like that name. They have a really curated selection of high-quality documentaries.
Yeah, many options.
No, it's exciting.
It is.
Right.
But I don't want to overwhelm our listeners with choices.
Right.
So let's give them some specific recommendations.
Okay. Sounds good.
What are a few documentaries that you think are particularly good for English language learners?
Let's see. Well, for a classic, you can't go wrong with Planet Earth.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one.
It's a BBC production,
Okay.
and it's just visually stunning.
What's it about?
It explores all these different ecosystems around the world,
Oh, cool.
like deserts and oceans and forests.
Some beautiful.
It is. And the narration
Yeah.
by David Attenborough is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
His voice is so clear,
Right.
and his pacing is perfect.
Okay.
And he uses really interesting vocabulary, but it's not too complex.
Gotcha.
So it's perfect for language learners.
So the good balance of challenging and accessible.
Exactly. The visuals are just so captivating. It's really hard not to be drawn into the story.
So you're learning and being entertained at the same time.
Right. It's a great way to immerse yourself in English.
Okay. I like that one. What else do you have?
If you're looking for something a bit shorter,
Okay.
I'd recommend Explained on Netflix.
Explained.
Yeah.
Heard of that one.
It's a series
Okay.
with these short episodes on all sorts of different topics.
Like what?
Oh, everything. Like cryptocurrency, the science of sleep.
Oh, wow. That's a wide range.
It is, and they do a great job of explaining things in a clear and concise way.
Nice. And is the language suitable for English learners?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's very straightforward.
Okay, good.
And they use a lot of visuals and graphics to help illustrate the concepts.
Makes sense. So it's not just a talking head.
Exactly. And the episodes are only about 20 minutes long.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, you can easily squeeze one in during your lunch break.
So we've got Planet Earth for nature lovers.
Yeah.
And Explained for those who like a variety of topics. What about something for history buffs?
Oh, for history, I'd recommend Ken Burns's The Civil War.
The Civil War.
Yeah, it's a classic.
I feel like I remember watching that in school.
You might have. It's been around for a while.
Okay.
But it's so well made.
Is it long?
It is a bit longer, yeah.
Okay.
But it's worth the time investment.
Okay. So what makes it good for language learning?
Well, the narration is very clear and well enunciated,
Okay.
which can be helpful for learners.
Right.
And it covers such a pivotal moment in American history.
So you're learning about the language and the culture.
Exactly. You get a glimpse into American society during that time period.
I like it. Okay. What about something for science and space enthusiasts?
Ooh, for that I have to recommend Cosmos, A Space-Time Odyssey.
Cosmos.
Yes.
Okay.
It's hosted by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, I love him.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
And he has this incredible way of making complex topics
Right.
accessible to everyone.
Yeah, he's a great communicator.
He is. And the visuals in Cosmos are just breathtaking.
So it's educational and awe-inspiring.
Absolutely.
That sounds pretty amazing. Okay, last recommendation.
Okay.
What about something in the health and wellness category?
For that, I'd say Forks Over Knives.
Forks Over Knives.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of that one.
It explores the impact of diet on our health.
Interesting.
And it makes a really strong case for a plant-based lifestyle.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty eye-opening.
What about the language used in the film?
It's very conversational and easy to follow.
Okay.
And the topic itself is really relatable.
Right. Taking care of your health is important for everyone.
Exactly. So it's something that everyone can connect with.
That's a great list of recommendations.
I try to cover a variety of interests.
You did a good job.
Thanks.
So now that we've talked about specific documentaries,
Yeah.
what are some ways that our listeners can take their learning even further?
One thing I always tell people is to go beyond just watching.
Oh, okay. So don't just stop at the documentary.
Right. If something sparks your interest.
Dig deeper.
What do you mean?
Like if there's a particular topic that really grabs you, read books about it.
Okay.
Or articles. Watch other documentaries on the same subject.
Yeah.
You can even look for interviews with the filmmakers.
Interesting.
Or with the experts who are featured in the film.
So you're turning that initial spark of interest into a full-blown exploration.
Exactly. The more you explore, the more you'll learn.
Both about the topic and about English.
Right. And another thing you can do is connect with other people who love documentaries.
Oh, yeah. Find your people.
Exactly. There are online forums, social media groups, language exchange communities where people talk about documentaries and share their thoughts.
So you can get different perspectives.
Yeah. And it's a great way to practice your English with other learners.
It's like a support system.
It is.
Yeah.
And it can be really motivating to know that you're not alone in your learning journey.
Community is so important.
It is. And as you keep watching documentaries,
don't forget to take some time to reflect on what you've learned.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's easy to just keep moving on to the next thing. Right. But it's important to pause and acknowledge your progress.
Yeah. Celebrate those wins.
Exactly. Think about what new vocabulary you've picked up.
Okay.
Has your listening comprehension improved?
Right.
Are you more confident speaking about the things you've learned?
It's like checking in with yourself.
It is. And if you notice areas where you still want to improve, that's great information to have.
Right.
Maybe you realize you need to work on your pronunciation.
Okay.
Or maybe you want to expand your vocabulary in a specific area.
So you can tailor your learning to your needs.
Exactly.
You know, it's amazing to me how much more documentaries can offer than just entertainment.
They really can be a powerful tool.
Right. It's language learning, personal growth, social connection.
It's all there.
Well, this has been a fantastic conversation.
It has.
I've learned so much.
Me too.
So to our listeners, I encourage you to give documentaries a try.
Yeah.
Choose topics that you're passionate about.
Right.
Engage with the content actively.
Absolutely.
And just watch your English skills blossom.
It's amazing what can happen when you find something that truly interests you.
It really is. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It was my pleasure.
And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to the Speak Smart podcast.
Happy learning, everyone.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, happy learning.